let's take a look at a passage from The House on Mango Street by Sandro Cisneros. Sandro Cisneros is a plain-style author. That means she's writing in simple, direct sentences with a minimal vocabulary, not a tiny vocabulary, but she uses simple words to great effect. She repeats words, and let's first take a look at how the word house is mentioned in the first sentence, and then not again until the end of the passage. I knew I had to have a house, a real house. The house on Mango Street isn't it. So we're really clear that this passage is focused on a setting, on a real house, and that house, like the house in A Rose for Emily, is decidedly symbolic. Let's read a little further and find out what it represents. So the first paragraph gives us imagery. It gives us specific sensory detail about the house. It's small and red. It has tight steps in front. And then a simile, windows so small you'd think they were holding their breath. Actually, it's a kind of personification. Bricks are crumbling in places. The door is swollen. There's no front yard, just a few little elms that the city planted. So we get a picture of a house that is decidedly run down, decidedly not in the best neighborhood in town. It has a small garage for the car we don't own yet, and a small yard that looks smaller between the two buildings on either side. It has one washroom and one bedroom, and the entire family, which she takes the trouble to name, Mama and Papa, Carlos and Kiki, and me and Nenny, share that bedroom. Now that establishes the setting of the story, but as I said, it's also growing a little bit into the symbolic realm. It's interrupted by a narrative when a nun from my school, so we have an outsider in this passage, and she sees her playing out in front. And she gives us more sensory details about what the neighborhood looks like. The laundromat downstairs had been boarded up because it had been robbed 2 days before, and the owner had painted on the wood, "Yes, we are open," so as not to lose business. The nun asks the narrator, "Where do you live?" And here again we see a pattern of repetition. "There," I said, pointing to the third floor. "You live there?" "There." I had to look where she pointed, the third floor, the paint-peeling wooden bars Papa had nailed on the windows so we wouldn't fall out. "You live there?" Okay, so that repetition of there, a very simple demonstrative pronoun, emphasizes the inadequacy of the house as it is seen by an outsider. And the narrator explains how this makes her feel in the next sentence. The way she said it made me feel like nothing. So you live there, you live there, there, you live there, there, and then the admission in the past tense, I lived there. Okay. So she attaches herself to the place, and she's not very happy. And then she has a recognition or an epiphany about houses. I knew then I had to have a house, and here again we see that pattern of repetition, a real house, one I could point to. But this, referring to the house, isn't it. The house on Mango Street isn't it. She repeats and drives it home, emphasizes with repetition. For the time being, Mama says. So we're not living here forever, Mama says. Temporary, says Papa. So her parents have assured her they won't live here forever. This is just a stop on a longer journey. But she's a little cynical, the narrator, and she says, but I know how those things go. So we get the sense that this house represents the poverty in which she feels trapped, but it also opens up, I knew I had to have a house, a real house, the idea of a dream, or the house then becomes a metaphor for the American dream.